This is a sand video. Sand for your aquarium. Sand is a filter. Sand is fun. We're going to find out all about sand in this video while you watch my colorful, amazing fish behind me. Close up and beautiful. So check it out. So this video is a viewer request. It's a really good topic. It's sand. He wants to know some specific things about sand, my take on it. He's done some research. He wants to know what I think about certain things. So we're going to be talking about sand is a filter. Now, if you look down here, I got a lot of sand, but I do have crushed coral. I actually want to take the crushed coral out, but I'll talk about that in another video. Sand right here. Awesome. Awesome. Sand has a lot of beneficial bacteria that breaks down your waste products. It converts ammonia to nitrite to nitrate. Sand also keeps, if you don't have like crushed coral or gravel, a lot of the food, the waste will stay on top. It will not sink down, will not get into the substrate. That's part of a filtration. I consider that part of filtering the water. It keeps it from going down and building up in your substrate. That is amazing. Amazing. Now the topic that he wants me to touch on, the main bacteria you have in your sand is aerobic. Aerobic. Which uses oxygen, which if you look in here, I got micro bubbles going in here. Polishing the water with oxygen. Really cool thing. You'll watch some of my videos on that. It's going to be a topic ongoing, but why do I have oxygen in there? Oxygen is used for beneficial bacteria that's in your sand, it's in your filter, it's in your substrate, it's in the water. But there's a lot in the substrate. And sand is really good because of its texture and how it's made. It holds a lot of beneficial bacteria. So the question he wanted to know is on anaerobic bacteria. Can sand form anaerobic bacteria? Anaerobic bacteria actually breaks down nitrates. That's the thing. People are going, hey, I want to lower my nitrates. How can I do it? How can I lower my nitrates? What can I do? Well, you really don't have to do anything as far as your substrate. Your substrate, it can build up anaerobic bacteria underneath here where it's not getting a lot of oxygen. And it's actually breaking down nitrates. It's not a problem. But he wants to know about the poisonous gas that it can form. Now here's my experience on that. I've been in the hobby a very long time. Even though I look young and pretty, I'm not that young. So I've been in the hobby for a good while. And I used to have substrate where it was very deep in the aquarium. And it actually wasn't sand. This is my first experience with the smell, the noxious gas, was with gravel. And it built up. It didn't hurt my fish, did not do anything to my fish. My fish did not die. I noticed when I did do a water change that it kind of got on my skin. I could smell sulfur. It's a sulfur smell. Now sulfur actually can be used in antibiotics, and actually it's used in some fish medications to treat diseases and bacteria. So is it a problem? Well, it wasn't killing my fish. It did smell bad. Now I wasn't doing water changes at that time as often as I do now. So you probably won't ever have that experience. And so if you don't have your substrate too deep, you may never experience that. And you may never even experience it with sand, because if you have cichlids, which you could have any fish, if you have cichlids and you don't have like rocks on it and stuff, or crushed coral, they're going to spend a lot of time sifting the sand. They're going to be moving it around. You only have to do a lot of the maintenance to your sand because they sift it, they move it around. There's spots down here that they've moved out here. This whole cave area, that was full of sand. They moved that over here. This whole section over here, they've moved all that out. I mean, they move it all the time. So as far as your maintenance on it, yes, you can do some, some maintenance when you do water changes. You can take a pole, a stick, and stir your sand around so you can get some of the waste out, so there's any pockets it can get rid of. But anaerobic bacteria by itself is actually something people are trying to sell, that say, hey, this media can hold anaerobic bacteria to lower your nitrates. They try to sell it to you. They try to sell it for your filters. It's just a big thing. So hey, you can have sand and it can help lower your nitrates with anaerobic bacteria below. It's not going to cause any problems, at least in my personal experience. And I've been in the hobby for, I'm just going to say it, 40 years. No fish deaths due to anaerobic bacteria or any type of gaseous products. Now, at the type of sand you have could determine how quickly that builds up. Clay sand, which is the more cheaply bought sand, can pack up like mud. It might be able to form it quicker, but it still can be used. You still can use it, no problems. Personally, I use pool filter sand. It's a little bit thicker. It's not necessarily the best, but for me, I have a lot of aquariums. I change out my substrate quite often, and I don't want to spend high dollars amount of money on substrate, because if you have like 15 aquariums, substrate alone can set you back. It can set you back big time. What I like about sand is, just like gravel, you can get all types of different color sand and change. You like to rearrange your room sometimes. A lot of times you want to rearrange your aquarium, make it look different. All you have to just change the color of the sand. Everything changes. Sometimes it might affect the coloration of your fish. Now, they say sometimes that the color of your substrate can stress the fish. It can affect the color, but I've not seen them where they're really stressed out. People try to say that the darker substrates stresses fish. I don't think so. But hey, do what you can, have fun with it, change it out. Personally, I hate changing out substrate, so I'm going to give you a few pointers on if you want to change out your substrate. You may have sand now, you may have gravel. I just want to give you some pointers in case you decide to change it out. The pointers are the same thing I've been covering. Sand has a lot of beneficial bacteria in it. So make sure you've not done a filter change, change out your filter, clean it out recently before doing a substrate change. Because if you change out your filter, no matter if you use, tap, your aquarium water to filter it with, you're going to be losing some bacteria every time you change out, your aquarium filter. If you change out the floss, whatever, you're losing some bacteria every single time. So make sure, you give it a week. And also, when you do your water change, do it when you have the substrate change. Don't do it like the day before and then do another water change, because there's a lot of bacteria in your water. You don't want to have a lot of problems with your bacteria when you change out your substrate. So here we go again. Do not change your filter out right before your substrate change. Don't do a big water change until you do a substrate change, and try not to take out as much water as possible as you normally do. Just what you need to get all the debris out, or at least most of it. So that's my take on basically the substrate. Just sand. Sand is the reason I think sand is fun let's just touch on that just a little bit more. Sand's fun because you see a natural display of your fish. Not so much in this aquarium. I've actually been sifting. You've got a sifter to get this crushed coral out of there. Sand allows you to see some natural behaviors. They sift the sand. They're getting some of the debris out of there. They're re-eating old food. They move sand around when they're breeding. It's fun to watch all that behavior. And the colors you can change. You have a smaller aquarium, or you have a budget where you can change out your substrate more often. Changing out the substrate can just be fun. It can be, and you know, just really put a boost to the hobby. So remember, sand is a filter and sand is fun. So keep this hobby fun. Don't make it complicated. A lot of things people are thinking are bad are actually good, you know. So I hope you enjoyed this video.